Hi, everyone, and welcome to the second day of the Obama Foundation Summit. We are thrilled to have you all tuning in. I hope you've really enjoyed the main stage events. Just a reminder, we are here to inspire, empower, and connect the next generation of leaders, and you are a critical part of that. So we really hope you stay in touch with the Obama Foundation as we go forward. As part of this, we have a few great leaders that we're going to get into some conversation with and hear a little bit about their perspectives when it comes to civic engagement and the work that we can all do together. So first up, we have Rokhaya Diallo. She is a writer, award-winning filmmaker, and activist. Welcome, Rokhaya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I want to start by first letting our viewers know that you've done really important and innovative work in France when it comes to addressing issues of race, gender, and religion. I would just love to hear from you your view of civic engagement. How do you think about what that is, and how has that informed your approach to addressing these issues?
Thank you for allowing me to share my views. First thing, I think that it is very important for every citizen to think about himself or herself as someone important, as someone that can have a voice and that can be part of the global conversation. So I started my organization, Les Indivisibles, because I was tired of hearing people speaking about me as a woman, as a French woman of color, without having me on the set. So I decided with my organization to tackle everyday racism, especially statements authored by public personalities. So you mentioned that we tried to be innovative, so we created a ceremony, an award ceremony, that would reward the worst racist sentences authored by public personalities. So it was a way to use humor and to work with comedians, but at the same time to raise awareness on the fact that when you hear, the media, the public sphere, you hear much racist statements, and you feel like there's nothing you can do against that. And having that ceremony was a way to be vocal on that.
Wow, thank you. Thanks for your work and for sharing it.
You're welcome.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you created this organization, The Indivisibles.
Yes.
I am curious, as a young woman, as you were recognizing the need in this space, what incentivized you, or what inspired you to actually create an organization as opposed to joining other organizations in the space? And just tell us a little bit about that process of creating that.
It's true, because I had the feeling that the other organizations were doing a great job, but they weren't really working on the specific topics of prejudices that I was concerned about. And actually, I was inspired by another European woman. I watched a documentary about Black Germans on TV. Her name is Noah So. And I saw that she started an organization to say, you can be German and Black at the same time. And that's what I wanted to say. I can be, you can be French, Asian, Muslim, Black at the same time. So I contacted her, and we just spoke, and she told me, you should just gather with your friends and start something. And that's how we were only 6 at the beginning, and I never would have known that it would be that big in France.
Wow. Well, thank you, Rokhaya. And a last question for you. Just tell me a little bit about, we're in day 2 of the summit. What are you taking away with you? What have you enjoyed most? What's really inspired you here?
The first thing that I enjoy a lot is the energy. Everyone is enthusiastic. We have people from all around the world. Wherever I turn around, I just jump into someone that is amazing, that is doing an amazing job in his or her city or his or her country. So that's something I really want to bring back to my country, because it's inspiring, and I have the feeling that I can connect with everyone here to work back in my country.
Wonderful. And actual final question. What advice do you have for folks that are watching who perhaps what you've said about questions of identity and making a difference in your community may perhaps really resonate, but they're not sure where to get started? What would you share as folks are thinking about that first step that they can take?
I think that everyone has to know that the power is in our hands. We can do whatever we want to do as long as we believe that we are fighting for the right cause. So I had no idea about where I would go with my organization, but we were convinced that we were doing the right thing. And that's the feeling I have being here and connecting with people who are working on causes in their places.
Wonderful. Well, Rokhaya, thank you so much for being here and for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for encouraging me.
Thank you. All right. So next up, we have another special guest. This is Gebbia. He is a co-founder of Airbnb, which of course we know, I'm sure many folks watching right now have taken advantage of this service in the past. So welcome, Joe. Please come on up. And for anyone that was watching the morning session, if you're able to stream in, you of course know that Joe joined a really exciting, interesting, I think, conversation about the role that that business has in thinking about civic society. And that's really where I would like to start, Joe, in case folks did miss that. So we think at the Obama Foundation a lot about the role that individuals have, that people have, as we're, and we really want people to feel that they have the power to make a difference in their communities. I'm curious, for the hat that you wear as running a business, what do you view the role is for business and institutions in terms of creating the kind of civic society we want to have together?
It's a great question. First of all, I'm just so excited to be here. I think it was a fascinating panel. And I think to get right into it, I feel like companies in the 21st century have a responsibility to go above and beyond the normal calls of duty of their business, to actually take whatever their strengths are, whatever they're good at, and go out into the world and actually solve problems. And they can do that through partnerships with the public sector, obviously. So I'm thinking right now specifically of things that we're good at as a company. You could say short-term hospitality, creating trust between strangers, and doing that at a global scale through technology platform. And so it showed up for us in answering the question, how do we put a roof over the head of people who need it the most? And we created a platform called Open Homes that allows anybody to house someone who's been displaced, whether that's by natural disaster or by political conflict. And so we've got hosts all over the world who are really going above and beyond even just hosting a traveler and saying, I want to open my home to somebody who needs it.
Wow. Tell me a little bit, Joe. You mentioned on the panel this morning the story of how the idea for Airbnb came about was that you needed to pay your rent.
Yes.
And you thought, what assets do we have? Which, by the way, is a key aspect of community organizing, is understanding the assets that you have. So I appreciated that. But I'm curious for a lot of us, you have an idea. And the reality is that a multi-billion-dollar company like Airbnb, it started with an idea and it followed with the tenacity to make it real. It can be hard when we have ideas floating in and out of our heads of that could be maybe a major company, maybe a powerful way to make a difference in my community or to change the world. What advice do you have for folks that are trying to figure out how to even begin that process? What did you learn from that experience?
Well, it's funny. Today is November 1st, 2017. 10 years ago to the day, November 1st, 2007, is when we had a rent check that was due.
Oh, wow.
That we couldn't pay.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. And so it's been a lot of reflection of, wow, 10 years ago, my roommate Brian and I had our backs up against the wall. We quit our jobs to be entrepreneurs, had no idea what we wanted to do. The rent goes up beyond our means, and we have to figure out a creative solution to keep our apartment in San Francisco. And so a design conference is coming to town. All the hotels are sold out. I pull an airbed out of the closet and think, well, what if we just hosted a designer who needs a place to stay? They could help offset our rent, and we could maybe make a connection in the process. And so we ended up putting 3 airbeds in our living room, making a website, airbedandbreakfast.com, hosted 3 people who got to feel like they belonged in San Francisco. They stayed with locals. We became economically empowered as a result. We actually saved our apartment through the money that we made, and it sparked a much, much bigger idea, which is how do you create a platform that can empower anybody that has extra space to share it in a way that they want to connect with somebody else.
Wow. And do you have advice from that experience?
Absolutely. So I think it's incredibly important that an entrepreneur out there who's watching this right now, who's thinking about starting something, solves a problem that they're facing themselves, right? They're solving their own problem. And why is this important? Because in bringing a new idea to life, it's going to be met with tons of resistance, a lot of rejection. People will say, no, it's crazy. If you're intrinsically motivated because you're solving your own problem, it'll allow you to have the perseverance to really break through and get through all the adversities and rejections that you're going to face.
That's great. Thank you, Joe. Last question for you. I know you attended different sessions. You obviously, as I said, were on the main stage this morning. What are you, as a business leader, hoping to take away from this experience and from the summit itself?
I'm really trying to take away, how do private companies intersect with the public sector and with the civic sector, really? And it's great. I've had phenomenal conversations. This is, by the way, one of the most diverse conferences I wish every conference was this diverse. I've met people from Africa to Asia, South America to North America. And in each of those conversations, it's really finding like what are the intersectionalities between private companies and the assets they have with the civic engagement and the community building of so many other organizations here. So some of the things that we're up to in this front, actually working with the National Domestic Workers Association to allow our hosts to provide living wage to any house workers who work on Airbnbs. We signed an MOU with the World Bank to help bring tourism to rural areas of places like India, the Philippines, and Bangladesh. And so I'm insanely interested to keep finding those kinds of conversations and intersectionalities.
Wonderful. Well, Joe, thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing all your perspectives and for the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think that's it for our time. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We have coming up next, you're not going to want to miss it. Mrs. Obama is actually going to be in conversation with the poet Elizabeth Alexander. I can promise it's going to be a pretty inspirational session. So thanks again for tuning in and for all the work you're doing in your communities to make a difference.